Hello, my name is Noah Elkreef, and in this video I'm going to help you discover how positive thinking can't make you happy. And that may sound a little bit crazy at first, because positive thinking is often the goal of life for many people. And the reason why positive thinking is the goal is because we're only taught there's two choices: be a negative thinker or a positive thinker. And so which of those is more enjoyable? Well, positive thinking is much more enjoyable. But there's actually a third option. And the third option is to just be here without thinking positively about it, about anything, or negative about anything. Just being here and recognize, I don't know what's good or bad, I'm just here being. And so before you want that option, you'd want to discover, why does positive thinking not make me happy? Or why would it create suffering? Or why would I suffer if I thought positive? Well, the answer is really quite obvious if we're willing to be honest with ourselves, and that is, there is no such thing as positive without such a thing as negative. There is no such thing as good without bad. There is no such thing as perfect without imperfect. Right? Perfect can't exist unless there is such a thing as imperfect. If everything was perfect, then it wouldn't be perfect. It would just be what it is. It would just be normal, ordinary. Everything is the same, right? So, what that means is, you can't be smart unless there's such a thing as stupid. Because if everyone was the same smart, then they would just be normal. You can't be beautiful unless there's such a thing as ugly. Because if everyone has the same beauty, then you're just normal. You're not beautiful. You're not good. You're just normal. So the same is true with everything. Okay? So that has huge, huge implications. So when you're saying, I could be a positive thinker, I could think positive, the way it makes it sound is like I would only think positive 100% of the time, as if that's a possibility. But you can't, because as long as you believe one thing is good, you believe the opposite is bad. So if I believe that the way I behave is good, well then I believe somebody else does it bad. Right? Their way of behaving is bad, which means I'll judge them and be angry at them and blame things on them. If I think that a certain outcome would be good for my life and I believe I can get it, well then I'll believe the opposite outcome would be bad for my life and I'll have anxiety about that outcome. If I think that there's anything good about myself, well then I'm also going to think there's bad things about myself. Right? It's good that I'm nice or good person or giving or smart or whatever. Well, then I'll also think there's certain things that are bad. Right? Maybe my weight, maybe my size, maybe my smile, maybe my demeanor, maybe my happiness. Who knows? If I think that certain jobs are good, let's say I believe my job is really good. Well, guess what? That means I'm going to believe other jobs are bad or meaningless or not reaching their potential. Right? If I think I'm smart, I have to think others are stupid because I can't be smart unless somebody's stupid, so I gotta judge. Right? If I think I am beautiful, I have to judge others to be less beautiful, but on top of that, if I believe it's good to be beautiful, I like being beautiful, that's what I am, then I'll think it's bad to be ugly, which means I have to worry about becoming ugly, because that can happen. It can happen in a variety of ways. An accident, a pimple, gaining weight, allergic reaction, getting older, getting hit by a car, or, more easily, if somebody rejects me, or someone breaks up with me, or someone doesn't look at me, or someone insults me. So I have to worry about those outcomes. If I think everything is great about my life, my job is great, my car is great, my girlfriend is great. Well, if I think my job is great, then I'm going to think other jobs are worse, which means I'll be afraid of losing my job. If I think my girlfriend is great, yay, I'm such a positive thinker. But that means I think she's better than others. Right? So that means I'll be afraid of losing her. If I think my car is great, well then I'll be afraid of getting into an accident because I love it so much. It's so good. I don't want it to become bad. You cannot believe in good unless you also believe in bad. So therefore, if everything is great in your life, then you fear losing it. If everything is great in your life, then you judge others to be worse in a variety of different ways, as you've probably seen happen in your own life or with other positive thinkers. If I think I'm a good person, I judge others to be bad people. If I think I'm a happy person, I'll judge others to be sad. If I think there's anything good about me, I'll worry about maintaining it. I'll judge others to be worse. And it's just no fun. If I think any outcome in the future would be good, even if I think I can get it, even if I'm really optimistic, I can get it, I'm obviously going to think the other outcome would be worse, so I'll fear it. This is just the way life works. Good doesn't exist without bad. You cannot have only everything is good. As long as you believe in good, you're simultaneously and unconsciously believing in bad, and very often consciously. So the pursuit of positive thinking is the pursuit of half good, half bad. It doesn't make much sense. But if that's the only thing you've ever been taught, there's only two options, negative or positive, well, of course you're going to go for positive. It makes perfect sense. But now that I'm introducing to you, or maybe you've heard this before, that you can't believe in good unless you simultaneously believe in bad, then all of a sudden you can question, wait, what should I do then? And that is, you can discover, I don't know. If you see this hand movement, is this a good or a bad hand movement? It's neither. You say it's good, but somebody else says it's bad, so which is it? It's neither. Right? Is this a pretty or ugly nose? You may say it's pretty or ugly, but what you're doing there is you're going into your imagination and referencing your picture of a perfect nose and then comparing this to your perfect picture. But your perfect picture of a nose isn't the actual perfect nose. There's no such thing as the perfect nose. Everyone has a different idea, and none of those ideas exist on the nose itself. They all exist in your own imagination. You see, when we're born, we're free. We have no ideas of what is good and bad. Everything just is. So we approach everything with wonder and awe and curiosity and interest and full attention. And then somebody teaches us what is bad or good in every single way. If we're fat when we're 2 years old, we feel fine. I'm happy. I'm fulfilled. Nothing wrong with me. Then someone teaches you fat is bad, skinny is good. And then you feel insufficient. Right? They teach you if you're shy, you feel fine till someone teaches you outgoing is good, shy is bad. Right? They teach you this car is a good car, that car is a bad car. It's good to have this kind of job, bad to have that kind of job. Good to look like this, bad to look like that. Good to wear those kind of clothes, bad to wear those kind of clothes. Good to act like this, bad to act like that. As if it's helpful and necessary. None of that is necessary. But not only is it not necessary, it's put in our head that there actually is such a thing as good and bad in real life. That there actually is such a thing as perfect in real life and imperfect. None of that exists in real life. You cannot measure perfect or imperfect or good or bad with any tool available at our disposal. Why? Because there is no such thing. There's no evidence in reality through our touch, sight, hearing, smell, or taste. You can't taste good or bad. You taste something and your imagination says it's good or bad. So instead of living life in your imagination trying to convince yourself that everything is good, take a step back. What is true? If you think this movement is good or bad, stop. If you think it's really good, ask yourself, could someone think it's bad? If so, how do I know it's good? Or you think a certain outcome would be really good for you. How do you know? Do you know all the effects? Could it end up being bad? I don't know. You think an action is good or an action is bad. But how do you know that action is bad in the long run? And are they to blame for it? Maybe they were taught that that was good. Maybe they had no choice. I don't know. Positive thinking creates suffering. It's more enjoyable than negative thinking, but it creates suffering. So, if you want to be free of suffering, then the pursuit of positive thinking is the pursuit of losing some of your suffering and making some, and keeping some, and creating some. So, the other option is to just question whatever you think is good or bad, because when you discover, I don't know, there can be no suffering. There can be no sadness, no anger, no anxiety, no stress, no fear, nothing. All there is peace and freedom and love when you're just here being without any idea that anything is good or bad. That's it. And on top of that, the pursuit of trying to go from negative thinking to positive thinking is just filled with an internal war in our head. We're constantly evaluating. Did I think something good? Did I think something bad? Anytime a negative thought pops up in your head, you blame yourself and say, I'm so bad for thinking negative. Why can't I stop judging? Well, you can't stop judging because as long as you're trying to think of yourself as good, you'll think of others as bad. Right? You say, why do I keep having anxiety? I'm trying to get rid of these negative thoughts. Because as long as you think one outcome is good, you think the other is bad. It's very clear when you're presented it, right? But it's hard to see on our own because it's very subtle and because everyone teaches us to think positive. The pursuit of positive thinking creates a tremendous amount of suffering, and it's fruitless because it won't give you the peace and fulfillment that you're looking for. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you for watching.